Welcome to this edition of Mayor's Report Livermore. I'm your host, Dr. Marshall Kamina. Joining me today is Mayor John Marchand from the city of Livermore. Welcome.
Always a pleasure to be here, Marshall.
I know what that is.
That's right. Well, you ran that city for quite a while.
It sure is now.
That's one of the reasons why it's such a great community.
Thank you so much.
One of my favorite quotes from Sir Isaac Newton is, "If I can see farther, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants."
There you go.
And I look back at all the people that helped make this community, and I'm just very fortunate to standing on their shoulders to keep this community the great place that it is.
Well, it certainly does have some lineage. When I first came to town, there was a fellow named Roger Silva, I think, who was the mayor. And
they didn't have a stoplight yet.
My dad asked me if I would please learn to drive in Livermore because he knew that I couldn't get hit when I'm getting trained. But it's come a long way.
Yeah, we have. We have more than one stoplight now.
We do indeed. You know where the first one was? First and L.
Yeah.
Isn't that a kick?
Yeah.
And you know where Googie architecture is?
Right. That's the donut wheel.
That's right.
I got to know. You learn about this town. You know, that's kind of our job.
Are there any updates or things that you might want to share with us?
Well, sure. So the city of Livermore, our police department, because there's a lot of heavy stuff that happens to the police department, we actually have 2 emotional support dogs at the Livermore PD. One of them is named Tater. I believe they're a couple of Labradoodles. And
is that with 2 T's?
Yes, that's with 2 T's. But Tater just successfully passed his American Kennel Club Community Canine Test. And this is a series of, it's part of their Good Citizen program, the AKC Good Citizen program. And it's a series of 10 10 tricks that they need to do. And then there's the AKC Trick Dog Novice Test, which is another 10 tricks that they need to do. Yeah. So Tater passed both of these, and so he's gone through with flying colors now, and we're very proud of him, and also the handlers at the police department, Lisa Joy Caligari and Nicole Aguan are the folks that they're handlers, and they just do a great job, and they're really popular when we take them to community events. This year we were going to be bringing them out for the National Night Out that we'll be talking about a little bit later. But they were out at the Trick or Treat, and the kids just gravitate them to there. And I liken Tater to being sort of like a. Remember Ragdoll Cats?
Yeah, sure.
Well, he's just the greatest, and but he loves kids, and they both do, and they're emotional support dogs. So they just it's unconditional love. So it's great to have them on board. Another really cool thing that we did was there are these family homelessness challenge grants that the city of Livermore received.
What does that mean, challenge grant?
Well, it's a challenge grant that it's the city of Livermore has to match these grants.
Oh,
so the grants that come in from the state, but they provide housing for abused women and children that otherwise would be homeless. So we've been able to set aside funds to provide housing for them, most notably at Leahy Square, so that they have a place to go. There are programs that we stand up to help both the mothers and the children. So it's a holistic approach to heal the family and to allow them an escape route to get away from the domestic abuse and to restart their lives.
Has it been able to withstand the test of time?
Oh, it's been there for decades. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful program. But as you know, one of the real problems we run into is limitation of resources. Yes. So we leverage community development block grants that we get from the federal government. This challenge grant is a grant from the state. So we take those and we partner with Tri-Valley Haven and other organizations which enable us to get greater value out of these grants than we might otherwise do. But tremendous support for those in our community which really do need it.
That's wonderful.
I think so, and I think that looking after those that are in their greatest need, that's what Livermore is about. It's we do serve those that are the most vulnerable. So we're very proud of that our community steps up.
And so you should be. On the next topic.
Yeah.
Open Space Program, and Livermore has been home to many different species of plants and wildlife, and they're unique to this region.
Yes.
And I know you've been involved in it. Maybe you can speak a little about the Open Space Program.
Well, so there's a couple of things. So the city of Livermore owns about 350 acres of open space near Doolin Canyon. You were on the council, we acquired about 125 of those.
Yes, the kit fox is still living, the
right.
red-legged frog.
Well, we have kit fox, red-legged frogs. So we have kit fox, we've got Alameda whip snake, we've got burrowing owls, we've got all sorts of endangered animals here, and also plants. In the north of Springtown, we've got the alkali sink, and we've got about 300 acres that the city owns up in the alkali sink. So up there we have an endangered plant called the palmate bract bird's beak. It's a plant that's about yay big, sort of light purple in color.
Yes.
But the cool thing about this plant, it looks sort of like a hyacinth, but the cool thing is you look at it and it sparkles in the sunlight. Well, the reason it sparkles is because those are salt crystals. And the reason this plant survives is it can actually, it precipitates out this, the salt crystals. And you can actually see these salt crystals on the flower itself. And those are out in the alkali sink. There's another plant called it's Dionandra baccigalupii. And it's named...
must be Italian.
Yeah. Well, it's named after Rico Baccigalupi, who was the curator for the Berkeley Botanical Gardens. So they named this plant after him, but it's the Livermore tar plant. And it exists nowhere else in the world.
The Livermore tar plant.
Dionandra baccigalupii, so look it up. But it is the only place in the world that this plant lives, is up by the alkali sink. So because of that, we try to acquire these open space lands to ensure that these plants will continue to thrive.
And indeed, they are thriving?
They are. And you can go up there and see these plants. Now, what's interesting is there was you recall the Doherty Valley settlement, which provides funds to acquire open space. Now, that was actually started when I was on the Zone 7 Water Board. And it was part of the Doherty Valley settlement when there was a number of homes were placed up there.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, it was. It was a very big deal. And Zone 7 was we were the manager for all of the water transfers that were part of the California Water Bank. So one of the settlements that came out of this was the Doherty Valley Settlement Agreement, as they call it. Well, one of the things about this is specifically to acquire open space land. And one of the signatories on this is a group called Citizens for Balanced Growth.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah. So
CBG.
It boils down to two guys, and they have to consult with the city of Livermore before we can acquire these lands using the Doherty Valley Settlement Agreement. Well, what's interesting is we have been trying for the last 7 months to meet with these folks because there's a couple hundred acres that the city of Livermore wants to acquire.
On the north side?
There's 84 acres over by the Hartford Hills, sort of the western edge of Springtown, and there's another 100 acres or so south of the freeway in the Greenville area.
Yes.
So we're trying to acquire.
Is that where the cross is?
No, actually, it's south of the freeway, and that's a whole other thing. There's no agreement in place. We haven't acquired any of the property, the cross property. But all of a sudden, I see on TikTok that the city is demanding that the cross be shut down. It's like we have nothing to do with that. We don't have an agreement. We don't have a purchase agreement. But this thing goes out on TikTok and social media saying that it's going away. And the city of Livermore has nothing to do with it. It's between the property owner and the nonprofit. And as I said, we have nothing, we're not involved in that equation at all. But back to my original point about this is south of the freeway, the acres that we're trying to acquire. So they've refused to meet with us, this Citizens for Balanced Growth. They've refused to meet with us for 7 months. And so we're trying to acquire a couple hundred acres, and as you know, time is the enemy because prices tend to go up. So that means we're going to be able to acquire less open space, but they're refusing to meet with us. But the remarkable thing is they were at a council meeting recently and specifically said that they did not want the city of Livermore to use open space funds to acquire open space. And yet, what are we supposed to do with the open space funds if we don't acquire open space? So this is an ongoing issue. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll get through with this. They agreed to meet with us last week. They, again, refused. So we're still trying to buy a couple hundred acres of open space, and they're saying that we shouldn't use open space funds to buy it. So stay tuned on that one.
On that note, we'll pause.
All right.
We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back on this edition of Mayor's Report Livermore in just a moment. Welcome back to this edition of Mayor's Report Livermore. We're here talking with Mayor John Marchand from the city of Livermore. And as we were talking just a few moments ago, the Livermore-based Tri-Valley Haven has really been an important feature in our area, and I wonder if you'd give us some additional information about it.
Absolutely. So as you know, they've been a tremendous asset to our community. People don't really think about in terms of domestic abuse or homelessness here in the Tri-Valley because everybody knows, well, there isn't any in the Tri-Valley, but the truth of the matter is there is. And Tri-Valley Haven has helped thousands of women and children. They have...
including boys.
Yes, well that's the other thing. Men and boys tend to be problematic in these sorts of situations, but they are the only shelter that accepts teenage boys. Mm-hmm. And they've been doing this for over 40 years. They have helped thousands of people. And in fact, there was just a wonderful fundraiser recently to help fund the rebuilding of their shelter. And they're going to make it twice as large to accommodate abused women and their children. So they're going to be able to accommodate 45 people now. So that's, the community's really rallied behind them. Thanks to the Board of Supervisors, they've kicked in a couple $1 million for this construction. But as I said, they've been doing this for over 40 years. And in fact, Senator Steve Glazer just recognized them as Nonprofit of the Year for the great work that they're doing. But you know, it takes people to do that. It takes people and money. So statewide and nationwide, there's a shortage of clinicians and people that can help these folks heal and then continue the next step of their lives. So they're offering internships. Now these are unpaid internships, but the main thing is to get the experience in this very specialized. Very specialized. Yeah, yes. Thank you. But it's a real niche market, but it provides an opportunity for social workers and therapists to get these internships to...
And in master's programs besides.
Right, exactly. And so if you're in a second-year master's program in family therapy or a master's in social work student involved in practicum classes, the Tri-Valley Haven is offering these internships will provide hands-on experience and under the guidance of a licensed clinician. So if people are interested in that, they can go to the Tri-Valley Haven, contact them at either 925-667-2727 2705, or visit their website, trivalleyhaven.org, and you can work with some of the best people at the best nonprofit, as per Steve Glazer.
Thank you for that. Access Community Health in Livermore was around when the multi-service center first opened.
Yeah, it is.
And they recently had a federal audit with a perfect score. Now, I don't know that they have the same presence in Livermore, but they have Livermore and Pleasanton.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you might comment on some of the wonderful things they do.
Well, they have the facility in Pleasanton is larger. We have supported the city of Livermore has supported the one in the multi-service center for years, for decades, and they do tremendous work. We've been there since the 70s, and they help over 15,000 Tri-Valley parents every year with primarily for low-income families, but they continue to grow to meet the needs of the community. In fact, they're working on right now a new clinic on 2nd Street in Livermore, and this is going to have dental, behavioral health, and allow them to see an extra 5,600 patients. Because you remember the facility on Pacific Avenue is actually quite small.
Yes.
It's 2 stories, and it's going to be a tremendous facility. But I said it's going to allow them to increase their capacity to continue to meet the needs of people that are low income in our community, so that they can. There was a great program that Maryland Avenue School had that it was about dental care and breakfast, and they discovered that when children's teeth don't hurt and they aren't hungry, they learn better. And that won a Helen Putnam Award from the League of California Cities. So these sorts of things where you can provide quality of life improvements to people in your community, it's just a win for everybody.
Is that chap still there who was with them from the beginning?
Which one?
I'm trying to think of the name.
Yeah, well, there's a new executive director, Liz Perez Howe. So she's the new executive director, but they continue to do amazing work throughout the Tri-Valley. They really do.
It's on the tip of my tongue. When this is over, I'm going to go look it up.
Well, then you'll remember what it is.
Let's go to the Livermore Airport.
Okay.
With all the challenges that were happening during the 4th of July celebration this year, could you highlight what Livermore has experienced?
Well, okay, so a couple of things. There's been a lot of concern about unleaded fuel, and I'm happy to say that 2 weeks ago, I was down at the airport and watched the first plane to be fueled with unleaded avgas, the 94LL, UL. So that project came in 18 months ahead of schedule. So we're now dispensing unleaded avgas for piston-powered planes. So that's going to be an air quality improvement there. Also, for the 4th of July celebration, we had our 4th of July at the airport. There were a bunch of food trucks. Amu's Kitchen was down there. Because of the heat, we actually cut the day short. It was originally going to be from
was the fuel an issue with regard to it being?
Oh, no, not at all. But I just thought you mentioned the airport, so I thought I'd highlight that.
Thank you. I was hoping you weren't leading up to some.
No. There was no but or however there. Yeah. But we brought the community down to turn it into a family day at the airport. Now we were able to bring in the commemorative Air Force. We had a B-25, we had P-51, an F-6F, some Corsairs, P-40s. So we celebrated the warbirds that helped ensure the liberty of this country. And the kids, I was so surprised to see the number of young children that were down there. Now, yeah, we had a petting zoo, we had the Livermore Pleasanton Fire Department, we had the police department, but they had a helicopter down there, and they had a couple of experimental aircraft that the kids could sit in. And these long lines of, the kids were just thrilled to be down there.
It's almost a memory of the family days we used to have.
Remember the Wings for Freedom?
Yes, I do.
Air shows that we had down there? It was
I remember
great.
when they had the accident.
Yeah, but we had thousands of people were down there celebrating as a community to coming together. They had the Experimental Aircraft Association was down there. The Young Eagles were down there. The Robot Garden, Quest Science Center.
Yes.
Just all these great activities for kids to come in and enjoy. Looking at the planes, there were a couple of aviation demonstrations. Had the Pitts flying down there, and it was a great day. It really was. But to see all these families and all these kids down there at the airport, just enjoying this wonderful asset that we have here in our community.
Well, it's got to make you really proud.
It is. It really is.
We've got a little time to ask you, if you would, please. Do you have any upcoming events you'd like to mention?
Got all kinds of them.
Oh,
We've
right.
got the. So you may have heard that the Open Heart Kitchen operates our refuge center now, and they're opening up a food bank that's going to be really more of a regional food bank. So on Friday, August 2nd, 10:30 a.m., there's going to be a tour of the new Open Heart Kitchen food bank to get a behind-the-scenes look at it. And again, how to make a happier, healthier Tri-Valley. So pre-register at the library. It's going to be a joint effort on that. Also at the Civic Center Library, we have Jazz in July. Ashley Jemison is going to be there on Sunday, July 28th. 2 p.m. at the Civic Center Library with a performance. She's a saxophone player.
Is it inside?
Yes, that'll be inside. But Ashley Jemison, it's bringing a new school vibe to smooth jazz, current R&B and pop music with an improvisational twist. So come down there for that. It's July 28th at 2 p.m. at the library. There's an amazing race for Livermore middle and high school students. It's going to be August 3rd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in our historic downtown. They can compete for prizes. Registration is open to 7 teams on a first-come, first-served basis. The teams must have 4 members to register. And to register, they can dial 925-373-5505. Again, 925-373-5505. On Saturday, August 3rd and Sunday, August 4th, it's going to be Stuff the Cruiser.
Stuff the Cruiser.
Stuff the Cruiser.
Yes.
So what this is from 10 to 3, you can help Livermore students bring in backpacks and school supplies. So you can come down and we'll probably have the Altamont Cruiser at one of these locations, but we're going to be at Big Lots at 4484 Las Positas Road. Office Max at 2400 Las Positas Road, Walmart at 2700 Las Positas Road, and CVS Pharmacy at 1500 First Street. So we'll have volunteers out there to collect school supplies for Livermore students, backpacks, and they'll also take cash donations as well. And finally, on August 6th, Tuesday, 5 to 8 p.m., National Night Out. As you remember, that's one of the fun things we get to do. Last year we had over 50 neighborhood parties,
Yeah.
and it's bringing the community together.
Wow.
It's the National Night Out, where all the neighborhood watch programs come together, and you get a chance to meet the neighbors. It's because it's always good to know who your neighbors are, because they
Yes.
know where you live.
Yeah.
But it's good to know who lives in your neighborhood, so you can see if there's somebody, there's a car that you haven't seen before, or there's a truck you haven't seen before, and they're loading up big screen TVs.
Yeah.
That might be an indication that there's something going on in your community that you don't want going on there. So get a chance to learn who your neighbors are, have these community barbecues or ice cream socials, get to know your neighbors, and the police department, the fire department, and the city council and the city executive team, we also go out to these parties. I try to get to as many as I can. I've hit as many as 10 in a night, but go to livermoreca.gov/NNO. So livermoreca.gov/National Night Out, NNO. Deadline to register is Tuesday, July 30th. But looking forward to being out in as many neighborhoods as we can get to. National Night Out, it's going to be August 6th, Tuesday, from 5 to 8.
I wish we had more time. We could go on forever.
This is the fun stuff.
But I'm sorry. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Mayor's Report Livermore. Join us for the next episode of Mayor's Report right here on Tri-Valley TV. I'm Dr. Marshall Kamina. Thank you for joining us.